Why, hello there. It's been quite a minute since we've seen y'all, but we are back. First episode of 2025, and at least the Giant season's over. We don't got to worry about them for, let's see, one, two, three, just for a long
Let the
time
draft.
until the draft. The draft's gonna be fun. We don't have to worry about the teams, winning games or you know head coaching decisions, GM firings. Luckily for us, we don't got to worry about any of that when it comes to the Giants. But at least the pain and misery of 2024 is officially over. What's going on, guys? I'm Nate. That's Brian here to my right. Welcome to the Third and 10 podcast. It's been a while. We took the past 2 weeks off,
Took the
Christmas,
holidays
New
off,
Year.
like normal people.
Exactly. I figured, look, we beat the Colts that Sunday of
Was
Christmas.
there? I was there. Their
You
last minute
were there.
tickets.
Really?
Yeah, my buddy
Oh,
texted me on Christmas. Like, I got 2 tickets, $43. You want them? Like, yeah,
yeah.
I'll
I'm
take
not
them.
gonna say no. I can't believe you went to that game because the Giants were 0-8 heading into that one against
Yeah,
Indy
we were
at
to the park.
home.
Yeah, I'm like, I want us to lose, but like, we can't go 0-9 at home. Like, we just can't.
Right? Like the team can't be that bad.
Yeah,
And all of a sudden they put up 45 points in a game that they should have lost for draft position, but I digress.
yeah. Drew
Because
Lock had the best quarterback performance of any Giant ever.
I
Like
know.
Drew Lock is the only Giants quarterback to throw for 300 yards, 4 passing touchdowns, and rush a touchdown in NFL history, in Giants history. They've been playing for 100 years, and Drew Lock did something no Giants quarterback's ever done.
Out of everyone in the world that
Drew
could put up
Lock.
that
It's
performance,
gonna be a
it's Drew
crazy
freaking Lock.
trivia question one day. It's like, who is this quarterback? And I'm gonna remember. I know exactly who it was. I was in the damn building. It was Drew Lock.
Out of everyone in the world that can play quarterback for the Giants, most people would answer Eli Manning. But
I think Daniel Jones would be a better answer for that one because Eli was so immobile that you would never think he rushed for a touchdown. Where like Daniel
yeah,
Jones, you think could rush for a touchdown and just
yeah,
have like just a random 4 touchdown game.
he would throw I think Eli would sometimes run for the randomest touchdown sometimes,
Oh yeah,
honestly.
but no,
So
that was Eli Manning's like big thing was always like if you watch Eli Manning week in week out, like okay, this is a fine quarterback, but like if you just look at like his like stat sheet, goes, oh my god, this is like an all time great. It's like no, he stat pads. Nothing against
uh
Eli. Brought us 2 Super Bowls. I'm just saying his stats look a lot better than how he played on the field.
he could chuck it with the best of them, but he cannot run to
No,
save
he's
his
a
life.
very similar to like Tony Romo. He's like if Tony Romo had won 2 Super Bowls, that'd be Eli Manning's legacy. Is what Romo is.
Gosh, I miss when we had good quarterback play, man. I
Yeah.
tell you. Hopefully that changes when April
We
comes
talked about
around.
Drew Lock did something no Giants quarterback did in 100 years. That was pretty good quarterback play.
Yeah, just for one game. For the
Well, you didn't specify that.
that is
You
true.
said you wanted good quarterback play. We got good quarterback play. It was very limited, but we got it.
Let me revise what I said. I wish we had to go to quarterback play for all 18 games,
Yeah.
and we only got that for one game. For the other 17, no, 16, I should say, not so much.
No,
So
17. That Eagles game was not. That was some good quarterback play.
yeah.
You made Tanner
So
McGee look good.
I know out of all, like I said, out of all quarterbacks that could, either play well for us or go off against us, the last 2 games were Drew Lock going off, but also allowing Tanner McKee in Week 18 to look like a freaking starter.
I
Uh,
I made this connection during when I was working on Sunday. I like the game on my computer and stuff. I see Tanner McGee and like I just see like flashing around like, oh, Joe Milton's in the game. Mitch Trubisky. I'm like, is week 18 the NFL like the later innings of spring training when you're just looking around like it's either who are these people or that guy's still in the league? That's kind of what week 18's become.
I think there was a tweet I saw where it was like, would you rather prefer preseason week 3 or week 18 of the NFL season? I'm just
Week
like,
18 all
they
day.
are,
It's so funny.
yeah, but they're basically the same thing.
They are, but like week 18, like, all right, something's being played for here. Like preseason, every single game is meaningless. Week 18, you get like the funniness of like the last game of the preseason, but also get like Lions Vikings, which means something. So like, okay, I can have my appetizer of like funniness. Okay, Joe Milton versus Mitch Trubisky. That's funny. But then in the late o'clock game, hey, they're fighting for the first spot in the NFC. That's crazy. You kind of get the best of both worlds in week 18.
Kind of seeing just like the backups come in and try to put on a show like we saw with Milton. And then, of course, that Sunday night when we had Detroit and Minnesota. We'll break all that down later. But that Sunday night game was
A letdown.
a letdown. And Detroit man looked silly, which is no surprise there. I mean, the Lions have been one of not the best teams in the
Detroit
NFL all year.
exposed them. Detroit exposed Minnesota. Like everyone ranked overrated Minnesota, and Detroit goes, no, this is what a real good football team does.
Exactly. So, but we'll break all that down later on in the show. So we'll start this over with the Giants, and breaking down their season as it was. Because let's be honest, I think for the past maybe 8-9 weeks, our Giants content has been limited because they've been so bad.
Why?
And honestly,
why? Because they've been losing.
Exactly.
It's
So
been limited because there's nothing to talk about.
And there was no point in coming to you guys and be like, "Oh, the Giants lost," but like it would be just same old stuff. So, but we'll break it all down here today. We'll talk about the playoff picture for the NFL, the updated college football playoff picture as well, and then we'll talk to you guys about our plans for 2025. So we're live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram as well. Instagram, I can't post the comments on here for God knows why. But we have one comment that says from my guy Hakeem saying, quote, Joe Schoen really going to mess his pickup again. I hope he does not. But you guys are probably wondering why Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll are still here. Well, I don't know either, but I wanted them both back.
John Mara.
Yeah.
It's John Mara is why they're still here.
Exactly. And you wanted them back too, right? So let's I'm happy with
I was 50-50 at that point. Like, I was okay with bringing them back, but, like, if they wanted to clean house and move on, that was fine with me, too.
Yeah. I think regardless of what happened this season, I wanted them back.
If the Giants would have gotten the first overall pick, I probably would have leaned more to letting them go because, hey, if you're going to bring in the quarterback, don't bring two lame ducks in. Have, like, bring in the trio together. But now that we're picking like 3 or 4 and quarterback doesn't really seem to be an option unless we do something stupid, I'm kind of fine with running it back and let's see what they do.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, okay. And we'll obviously talk about those plans as well for the Giants because they did finish with their overall pick and why they did so. Because the Giants season ended at 3-14. Nice font. I did not know.
I was gonna say like that's like a little Halloween font here going on.
That's a new one.
A little spooky season in January going on.
We'll keep that one. I didn't know we had a font like that. Damn.
Now, see, the Giants were good. This be cool. Be scary. Be cool. Be scary. I can't get this thing. Oh, Brian's back with the New Year. Same me.
Still don't know where to point.
Brian
right,
can't
buddy?
figure out mirrors.
Oh my gosh! But hey, the Giants can't figure out their stuff, either this year. They couldn't figure out at all.
Who's easier, me trying to figure out the mirror on this thing, or the Giants making personnel decisions? Because I think it's close.
Probably the mirror thing. I'd choose you and the mirror issues over the Giants' decisions and them winning games this year. Because the Giants finished 3-14. This is the worst ever in their team history, which ironically this year was their 100th season as a franchise. So that's freaking ironic.
It's an anniversary season. It's a season that should be remembered for the next 100 years, and they had the worst performance of all time.
Out of all the years for them to just be bad, this was the year where they just freaking suck. And maybe it was a curse that was brought by the football gods for creating the god-awful worst uniforms ever in terms of alternate uniforms that they wore in week 1 and never again afterwards. Or it's because Dan Johnson's our quarterback.
Those jerseys should just be burnt. Like, that's just going to be like, in 50 years, like, our kids would be like, Daddy, what's this? And it's just like, nothing. It's nothing.
Don't even worry about it, right?
Don't even worry about it. It's like, it's going to go down with, like, the Islanders fisherman logo, all just a really bad stuff that's just kind of, like, thrown out. Like, the original Chargers logo when they moved to LA, that was, like, never used once because they got flamed online for it.
It looked bad, and it was like it was never going to be used again. And honestly, for everything that went on this season, this will be a forgettable one because I've never been so depressed nor so unmotivated to watch Giants football ever in my life until this season.
Mm-hmm.
It was just awful. This is the worst season for them since 1966 when they went 112-1. But in terms of 16 games, this is the worst season since 1983 when they went 312-1. Um, has
But
been a
that pick worked because I believe that's the draft we did. I believe Lawrence Taylor was that draft. Either Lawrence Taylor or Phil Simms was that
one,
draft.
one or the other
Yeah.
in terms of
I
that
think it
year.
was Taylor because we probably had the second overall pick that year, and that was definitely Lawrence Taylor.
And hopefully with the season that we had and being third overall, granted, if we lost to the Colts in week 17, we'd be looking at things differently for the Giants. But I'd rather, have a third overall pick instead of, being in fifth or sixth because at least we have some leverage from the draft plans. But we'll talk about those draft plans
Mm-hmm.
later on. Um, Overall, this Giants season was just pretty bad. We
That's an understatement. It's
Yeah,
horrific.
offensively, we were bad, 16.1 points per game, which was second worst in the NFL. Defensively, we were below average as well in terms of points allowed. Yeah, third worst in yards per game. Offensively, fifth worst passing. We were the 10th worst rushing offense, which is still below average. So just all around offensively, we were just not good. And um, in terms of defense, we were below average as well in yards per game. We had the eighth best passing defense, which is surprising, considering our very uh, young secondary. And
Oh,
rush,
they showed it this year. They were
they
they were
sure
definitely
did.
inexperienced.
Oh yeah, especially with Dante Banks being
Oh my God!
CB1.
Don't even get me started on Deontay Banks. I don't think I yelled at anybody more at that stupid Colts game than I did Deontay Banks.
he At this point in time, he's just not a guy that we can trust. I had high expectations for him
He's a
this
guy that
year.
can't. He's the only guy that can play in the system he fits and can't you know bend or change his game to fit another system. It's just like it's just like shoving a square peg in a round hole. It's like, dude, can you maybe change a little bit? Yes, the defensive coordinator should make a game plan to, make everybody's best skills a priority. At the same time, there should be some give and take. We're like, all right, I'll change this about the way I play if this will fit this better, which
Mhm.
Banks just won't do.
And he played considerably well under Martindale, especially in
Yeah.
2022.
He was my player of the year last year, I think. I was really
Yeah,
impressed with him.
that's right. Yeah, and 23, not 22, 23, he was really good. And that pretty good rookie season, even though there were some struggles, of course, as rookies, there were some high expectations for him to be better in 2024. Now you can blame the DC change from Martindale to Shane Bowen, who
I think
honestly,
that's the biggest reason for it. And
biggest
I think John Morris always like, we might need a new DC. Like, we just hired a DC. What do you mean we need a new one already?
yeah, but from what he's seen, especially during his
I
press
get it.
conference, yeah,
I understand.
I think Bowen's gonna be he might be gone, but we'll talk about that later when we talk about Shane and Daboll. But yeah, sixth worst rushing defense. Giants are being ran over all year long, especially when Dexter Lawrence was out and when he officially was out for the rest of the season with that injury. Uh, the teams just took advantage of that when Lawrence was off the field and just ran all over us. And even when Lawrence was on the field, still the Giants' rush defense was still not that great, anyways. So, a lot of holes for this team. And of course, we could sit here and be negative all episode long, but there was some highlights this year. And honestly, it's promising highlights that will be a big building block for 2025. First off, the rookie class, Malik Neighbors, of course, highlighting that, saying the league record for receptions in a rookie season with 109. So proud of him.
Yeah.
So proud of him. I'm sure, obviously, there were times where he pissed us off a little bit with his comments
Mm-hmm.
um, off the field. But hey, I mean, look, he was frustrated.
He's a gamer. He's a
Yeah,
gamer on a bad team.
he doesn't like losing,
No.
which no one does. But like, he took it to heart seriously, to the point where it's like if they lost, his attitude after the game was just unhappy, and I don't blame him. That's what he told us, during that
And
pre-draft process on Hard Knocks.
and that's not a bad thing for the Giants to have. Now, granted, this can't spiral and turn to an AB and Odell situation. But if he just has I hate losing, and he can just kind of hone that mentality and put it to the whole team, that is a culture changing type thing. That's something the Giants need. They need that player that's like, I hate losing so much. My whole demeanor changes when we lose. Now, he has to like grow up a little bit and become more mature and not throw like temper tantrums when they lose. But if he can just kind of hone that, like, I want to win no matter what, that's something that this Giants team desperately needs.
Oh yeah, just someone that's a dog, and we drafted
Exactly.
Neighbors because
Yeah.
he is a dog, right?
Mm-hmm.
He showed it at LSU, came here and showed what he can do when he's healthy on the field. Like he's someone that the Giants could definitely build around for a long time because he
Mm-hmm.
is a wide receiver number one, and all he needs is just a quarterback. That's all he needs. And
He broke records. He had 1,700 yards with not 1,700 yards. He had like over 1,000 yards with bad quarterbacks. Daniel Jones, Tommy DeVito, Drew Lock, and Tim Boyle combined and gave Malik Neighbors over 1,000 yards in the season. Imagine if he had just an average quarterback. Like, imagine giving like a whole season of like prime Kirk Cousins. Dude would be setting the receiving record.
and it's because
Give him like
especially
Matt Stafford. It's like, oh yeah, this guy's gonna be great.
especially Lock too, and that's
Mm-hmm.
what I'm happy about with Drew Lock, at least for him, for Lock specifically. Not to go too off topic, but he understood, and Tim Boyle understood that Malik just needs the ball in his hands, especially in Week 17 against the Colts. Well,
Well,
neighbors had like,
that's the veteran chip that like DeVito didn't have. Like,
yeah, it's
Locke's
a simple thing, but yet they just couldn't do it except Lock and
exactly.
Boyle.
But Locke's been, he's been with the Broncos. He's was on the Seahawks. This is his third team. He knows how teams run. He understands the NFL game. Goes, all right, if I have a talent like Malik, I have to give him the ball, no matter what.
No matter what, and it paid off, especially in that game against India, like 171 yards for Malik Neighbors in that
Yeah,
game, which is
and
very
three
impressive.
tutties, I think.
Yeah. God, I wish I was at the game. You lucky
Here's the
duck.
worst part. What was the most exciting part of that game? What do you think was the most exciting part of that game? There's an obvious one.
The fact that he put up 41 points and
Well, yeah,
won.
but like play wise, what was the most exciting play of that whole game?
It was so many options. So no lock. There's a lock rushing touchdown, but I don't know if that's the one you're referring
That's not the
to.
one. Nope.
It was. I know it's Neighbors then, right?
Not Neighbors. Nope. There's
Not
another one. Start at halftime.
start of half.
Start of second half. What happened?
Delete the kickoff return.
Yep. I'm in the concourse getting a beer. Missed it.
Dude. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
That
I
was our
was
first punt
legit
return in 9
online with it.
freaking
I got it.
years,
I was waiting
man.
for my buddy, and I heard the
Oh
stadium go
my.
nuts, and I ran out, and he was in the end zone. I'm like, are you serious right now?
That was our first returning
That's what I'm
touchdown in
saying. I
9
missed the most
freaking
exciting play of the
years,
game.
bro. Oh my. Just because you had to get a fudging beer. Oh my God.
It's a good beer.
I'm sure it was. But I will say that's another highlight that I want. He's not a rookie, but Emir Smith-Marset, a guy that signed with the Giants from free agency / a practice squad. We have a returner.
Yeah,
I may
that's our
be
guy.
going too far, but like he's shown from that kick return for a touchdown to I feel like multiple times since he was signed that he is a more than capable returner. I first thought that was going to be Gunnar Olszewski, but Smith Marset,
Mm-hmm.
that's a guy. I hope we bring him back.
I think we will. I think
He's
he'll be one of the guys with a future contract too.
I think he would. Oh, okay, good. Because I thought he was a UFA, but
I don't know. I don't know exactly what he is. I mean, I guess he was a practice squad guy. He'll probably be a future contract type situation, but who knows?
easy. Who bring
And
him
like,
back for cheap?
is that one kickoff really going to make a team like give him a bunch of money? Like the Giants will
No.
give him. Well, he's gonna get the league minimum, at
Yeah.
least.
We'll pay him what he deserves. We'll
Yeah.
get him back for
League
sure.
minimum.
Yeah, no doubt about that. But yeah, Malik was probably the best highlight of the season. For us, he was a guy that was making plays, a guy that we just needed on this team, a wide receiver number one that can make plays and be a dog, and that's what he was all year long. So I'm, definitely happy with the pick that we got him at 6 overall in 2024, and just looking forward to so many, more seasons from him. And once we get a QB, I think we'll see a lot more from Malik than what we saw from this season.
Oh
This is
yeah.
definitely a good building block to build off from per se. Another guy that from the rookie class that was definitely a highlight was Tyrone Tracy. Both Neighbors and Tracy were the first duo in Giants. Well, I know recent history, I should say, to put up 1,000 yards from scrimmage. With Tracy putting up 839 on the ground and 200 plus in the receiving game. And I will say, for a guy that was a converted from wide receiver to running back, he did pretty good for himself.
Yeah, really. He's the future RB1 for the Giants.
Yeah.
Like this is the guy that they might bring in somebody other than Singletary to kind of be like a Sonic and Knuckles type thing, but Tracy is in the long-term plans of this team right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some people were like, "Oh, he's an RB2," but I'm like, I wouldn't mind going into 2025 with him at RB1. I mean, give him
Yeah.
a better offensive line, and he's shown that he can have big games. He had a few 100-yard games this season as well, especially against Seattle. That was his breakout game
Mm-hmm.
against them. And yeah, I mean, he was one guy that kind of shocked me from the beginning. Someone that could, because I thought it was gonna be like a running back by committee type thing, and we talked about this multiple times before the season, right? We thought it was
Yeah.
gonna be Singletary, Tracy, throwing Gray in there for most of the season, but
Talking about
Tracy
a guy
just
that's going to be unemployed. Like that's a UFL guy right there, Eric Gray.
I know, just the fumble issues and
Yeah.
special teams were he's okay, I guess, but just
But
other than
like
that.
he's not like he doesn't do anything on special teams to make up for his mistakes. Like it's not like it's like Devin Hester out there who, yeah, maybe he's not a great wide receiver, but hey, he can return a kickoff. Eric Gray does nothing. He brings nothing to the table.
Yeah, it was just forcing him to be something he wasn't, to put him on special teams for him to be a returner. Like that's just not his
They're
style. And
trying to find a role for him. It's like we spent a 4th-round pick on this guy. Let's exhaust all avenues. He's not going to be a running back 1 in this team. Probably not running back 2. Maybe he'll be a kickoff guy for us. No? All right. Sorry.
yeah,
We literally did everything we could for you, bro. Go to the UFL. Go be a St. Louis Battlehawk.
if there's one guy that's gonna be a cut candidate, that's gonna be him. And hopefully he'll find a spot somewhere else if we decide to do that. But it's only because, look, I mean, Tracy has made himself stand out from everyone else, and even Singletary, to the point where Singletary might be, not to go too far, but could be a cut candidate slash trade candidate. Who
Oh,
knows?
yeah.
Because he just wasn't really part of the Giants' game plan once Tracy stepped up, and he sounded like the type of, you brought up Sonic and Knuckles, and that's in reference, if you guys don't know, to David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs of the Detroit Lions. Having that 1-2 running back duo can make a big difference in an offense. We saw that with Detroit, and that's something I feel like the Giants should replicate. Get yourself a power back, or just some sort of Monty Montgomery like back to pair up with Tracy, who was pretty quick himself.
Yeah.
Not as quick as Gibbs, but he'll get the job done. But overall, Tracy, great season by him. 6 total touchdowns on the year. Of course, had some fumble issues of his own at times, especially that key fumble against Carolina, which was a saving grace for us in terms of draft position. But I'm sure, for all players, they don't play just to lose.
Brutal to get up and wake for and watch that happen.
That was a long game.
One.
Yeah.
Stupid England games. Or were we in Germany? I don't even know.
It was. I hope
Stupid
we don't.
Europe game.
I don't want to play overseas games.
I don't want to play primetime anymore. I know we're going to because we're in New York, but like if we could just play 17 1:00 games for the next 5 years until we're good again, I'd be happy.
Yeah. I mean, okay. Well, give me one.
No prime time. I'm done being embarrassed on prime time. No more prime times. We were 1-8 on primetime games. We don't win on primetime.
We don't.
Just stick us at 1:00.
I know. I wonder why that is. Well, then again,
because we're not good and we're playing good teams on primetime.
I know. The Steelers. Yeah, the Steelers are one of them. Dallas is always another, but we always lose against Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas was a different story. Dallas is different. We always lose to Dallas. We played Cincinnati, who yes, had a down year, but even in a down year, was like a couple teams losing away from making a playoff run. We had to play the Steelers on Monday night. That's a loss. Dallas we always lose to, so I'm not really, there. And then
shocked in.
I don't even know what our other Monday night games were.
Monday night was.
There was another Sunday night game somewhere in there.
We played Sunday night twice?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I think I played it once.
Just once?
Yeah. Otherwise, I would have watched
Maybe it was 2
that.
Thursday nights I'm thinking of then.
Probably. Dallas was Thursday. Pittsburgh was Monday because I know it was on ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
The Cincinnati was Sunday night, which is NBC. I don't think we played again Sunday night or any of the primetime games. Regardless, though, for time's sake, just don't put us on prime.
Yeah, that's the crux of
For
it.
Brian's
Stop.
sake, for me, I'm cool with just one. Just put if the Titans can get one, we can get
No,
one too.
at least the
You
Titans
know,
are entertaining.
I hasn't. Oh well, not anymore.
The Titans had big name wide receivers at one point this season. They won this season with Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Hopkins, and Tyler Boyd. I know Hopkins on the Chiefs now and stuff, but at least they had big name guys at one point. We didn't even have that.
Fair enough. I think the only highlight person that we could highlight was Malik Neighbors, but
Yeah.
against Cincinnati, there wasn't really much to be happy about. And I watched that game. That was not fun, especially when Joe Burrow rushed for like a 50-yard touchdown against us, which is something he never does.
Yeah, Shane Bowen coming in to be a real genius on the stopping the defensive, stopping the rush attack.
Yeah, he's so
Remember
gone.
that? Remember? That was the big reason they signed him, because he was great with the rush and great in red zone.
He's so gone, I swear. He better be fired this offseason, but I digress. But yeah, Neighbors and Tracy, two offensive rookies that are obviously mainstays and will definitely, if all goes well, make an impact together in 2025 and beyond. Theo Johnson's another rookie that I want to mention real quick. He came on late in the year before going down with the injury that put him on injured reserve. But in those last few games that he played, he was pretty good. He had a touchdown against Dallas.
Flashes.
Yeah, 6'5", 6'6" tight end. He's one guy that I don't mind that we draft. He's pretty decent, just needs some time to develop, but he's someone that could be a big physical target with the Giants, down the middle and whatnot. Defensively, of course, they have Tyler Nubin, who was a tackling machine all year long. Was put on IR late in the year when the season was already out of reach. And, as you mentioned multiple times, right, with injuries and teams being bad, it's like there was really no point in throwing him out there injured or whatever the case would be, especially a young second round piece like that who has been impressive outside of not having an interception. He was pretty good for himself too.
Yeah, no, exactly. He did fine. Everyone on this team really did. This whole draft class is probably the greatest one we've ever seen in Giants history. It's up there.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's only 1 year and we have 5 years to go off of, but building off this is a good starting point for the Giants.
Mm-hmm. And especially, not to mention Andre Phillips, who was consistently one of, if not the best defenders on this Giants team. Pro Football Focus always had him as one of the best cornerbacks every single week. And for a guy that was supposed to be just a slot corner and nothing more than that, he's held his own, and is someone that is also a building block defensively.
Oh, yeah.
Now, we don't know if he could play much on the outside still. He was mostly, again, like I mentioned, just a slot guy. But that's fine with us. That's why we need to go out there and possibly get a corner that can play on the outside. And that's something I hope we address in free agency.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, this rookie class overshadows the 2022 one and the 2023 one for sure.
And those ones weren't yes, the 2022 and 2023 draft classes are bad. But when you look at the thought process behind it, it makes sense. It's like, okay, 2022, we're going to build in the trenches. Okay, we'll get Kayvon Thibodeau and Evan Neal. Smart. Now, those guys kind of didn't work out, so it looks bad, but right idea, bad execution is kind of what I'm saying for 2022 and 2023. And they finally got the execution right in 24.
Mm-hmm.
It's how it kind of, I don't want to say give Joe Schoen a pass, because yes, you have to be, those were 2 bad draft classes, but you had the right idea in mind. You just didn't pick the right players.
Yeah. And I feel like 23 was a bit worse because the guys
22 is much worse than 22. Yeah. But you also got to see where were the Giants picking in 23. They're picking a lot later than they expected to be.
Because they made the playoffs in 22.
Exactly. Yeah, they made the playoffs too early. But I just wrote a piece about why that was a mistake.
That's right, you did. So y'all can check that out on BellyUpSports.com, by the way. Quick plug. But yeah, this rookie class was definitely the best that Joe Schoen has had so far. So many contributors, and hopefully in 2025 with his decisions, that class might be even better or at the same level at least as 24. So shout out to Schoen for that. A couple of the
I'm just quickly last point with Schoen.
Of course.
Schoen is was the assistant GM in Buffalo and stuff. This is his first GM job. He's still learning on the fly here. So, like, I'm willing to give him a pass if he can improve. He's showing he can improve himself.
Mm-hmm.
So he's kind of taking the lessons he's learned in 22 and 23, apply to 24, and now we'll see what 25 is. If he
Mm-hmm.
continues to just, take the next step up, it's fine they're keeping him.
And he's mentioned multiple times where it's like it's gonna take time. They're gonna have to continue to build the right way, and they are doing so. And based on this draft class, despite how the season went, he's doing so. And
Yeah.
rebuilds are they suck. And
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
you wrote about it, and we talked about it before that 2022 season was kind of a fluke one where we made the playoffs unexpectedly, and that kind of set expectations too high for Giants fans when it comes to this team. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't blame them. But at the end of the day,
Especially
it's
because
like,
we've been rebuilding since 2017. We've been
yeah.
rebuilding since then. It's like, oh, we're still rebuilding. It's we're we're approaching 10 years. We're in year 8 right now of our rebuilds.
Mm-hmm. It's a long, painful process, but thankfully, things based off the players that we've got from the draft, it looks we're on the up and up. It just we
Mm-hmm.
have to solve the most important position in football and fill
Quarterback.
that void, which is quarterback, and hopefully things take off from there. But a couple other highlights from the season. We had the coming out party for Malik Neighbors against Cleveland, where we won 21-15. That was a good game for us. We had that block punt against Seattle that put us at 2-3 on the year after that win, and kind of gave us hope that maybe something could come about, because we talked about the gauntlet of the schedule that was. Now, obviously, we know how that turned out for us after that game. But at least we also had that 45-point outburst against Indianapolis, where Drew Lock threw 300 plus and rushed for a touchdown. And Malik Neighbors had 171 receiving yards as well. So that was a couple highlights from this past season. But with the upset we had, there were a lot of negatives, and I'm talking a lot of them. Quarterback play was bad. Lack of offense outside of Neighbors, Tracy. Like, there was not a lot of playmakers outside of those two guys.
Like Wandale and Slayton, had their typical seasons. They showed flashes, but they dropped a lot of footballs. Like Wandale Robinson, he made up for it because he had a big drop in that Colts game. And if the Giants lose that game, they blame him because he dropped the easy first down. Now, he did make up for it with 2 really nice catches after it. But don't forget, that drop almost, would have cost us the first overall pick. We'd still be picking 1. But, they almost cost us a win.
Definitely, yeah. And he's someone where I'm kind of questionable about too, and maybe it's because of the quarterback play, but for a guy to be targeted that much and to have that many receptions and still finish with 600 yards receiving,
Yeah. No, they
I
have to
don't
bring a
know.
receiver. There has to be a veteran receiver brought in to be with Neighbors. You have to at least have 2. If you want to put Wandale in that slot still, I'm okay with it, but he can't be the second best guy in your receivers. It has to be Neighbors, a free agent, and then he's kind of the third option.
You're doing a disservice by just having Malik surrounded in terms of the receiver room with guys like this that just they're okay, but they won't help
No.
create in terms of just lack of attention
You're
away from
you're
Neighbors.
okay if Wandale Robinson beats you. It's like, hey, Wandale Robinson made a play. Like, that happens sometimes. If Malik
Yeah,
Neighbors beats you, you're pissed off. Because it's like, how do we not prep for this?
exactly. So, definitely this team needs to get some playmakers this offseason. Hopefully they do sooner rather than later, which is in free agency. We'll see what happens there. Offensive line continues to be one of the negative things about this Giants team. The beginning of the year looked pretty good. Once as the season went along, they just got worse, worse,
So
and
they got
worse.
injured.
Yeah,
You could look at this team pre and post Andrew Thomas injury, and you can just
big
see the
difference.
major changes.
Mm-hmm. Ended up being the 5th worst offensive line this season. And even when Thomas was healthy, there was still question marks on the other side.
Yeah.
John Michael Schmidt's still not growing as a young center. Illumore was decent. Van Roten was okay as well. There was times where he struggled as well. So just a lot of it hasn't been solved yet. Heading into the season, I thought it was. With the
It
free
needs
agent
another
signings.
year. I would take maybe some better interior guys in this season. Try moving on from Evan Neal and getting a legit tackle in here at some point. Like, that's kind of what we have to do right now.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that option will also be addressed, hopefully in free agency as well. Had that 10-game losing streak for the Giants, that was the worst 10 games ever. The season was bad as a whole, but that 10-game losing streak was just so depressing. The last four of the past, no, the last 5 games offensively were terrible. Outside that Colts game, we put up less than 14 points in that stretch, I would say, to be exact. Giants couldn't stop the run all year, turnovers or lack thereof turnovers, uh, causing them per se. I think our differential was like -1 or +1 when all was said and done. So
Probably.
just not good. Special teams, big issues there. Outside of kick returns, we had kicker issues. It was terrible, and then
Okay,
injuries.
big number one thing the Giants offseason, get Graham Gano off my team.
Oh,
Get
thank
him
you.
out
Yeah,
of here.
someone
I
had to
cannot
say
take
it.
another year of Graham Gano as my place kicker.
Someone had to say it. Ever since we resigned him, he's just been bad, and it makes
How
no
many
sense to
games
me.
has Graham Gano cost us?
A
Because I can
lot.
think of two right off the bat: the Jets game last year and the first Washington game this year. And who's to say if they win that first Washington game and they go in there and they win in Cleveland, does that give this team enough confidence to maybe go on a
Make a
run?
run.
Because
Yeah.
it's different. Instead of going, 1-2, they're 2-1 going up against a weaker Dallas team. That might give them a comp. Hey, we're on a 2-game win streak. Our only loss was to Minnesota, who looks like they're going to be a lot better than they say they are. We're playing a struggling Dallas team in our home building on Thursday night. We can make a statement with this win right here. And
Mhm.
that mindset changes everything.
Yeah, but that loss hurt,
Mm-hmm.
especially when we're scoring touchdowns.
Yeah.
It's gonna put up any field
The
goals.
offense looked great. The whole team looked outside the defense. It looked great. The team really did look great that game.
Yeah, we just couldn't kick freaking field goals.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was what's his name? Gillian was forced to kick, and that just ruined
Yes.
him.
Yes, because Gano was hurt on Saturday. I can go, and Emil's like, I can't go. It's like,
Yeah.
this would have been nice yesterday at 5:00.
First play went. I mean, obviously none of us can control injuries, but just for him to
But the
still go
fact
out
he was
there
on the injury report and complaining about groin injuries, and in the past has had problems when he's hurt and can't kick, the fact that this coaching staff could go, maybe we should bring somebody in.
yeah, just it overall that plus a lot of things this year just sums up the season that was for New York, and hopefully this is something we never have to face again. But for the 100th season of the Giants' existence, this was the worst ever in their history to finish 3-14. But hey, at least we have a third overall pick, and hopefully this offseason, the Giants have one of the best off seasons in the NFL because they have the opportunity to do so with cap space, of course, and having a high draft pick because they'll be choosing third in round one, second in round two, and first in round three for those of you who want to know about that. But
Yep.
you guys are wondering who will be making the decisions for the Giants in terms of the front office. Well, it's not going to be anyone else because Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll were officially brought back on Monday. John Merritt released a statement and also talked to the media as well, announcing that both of those guys will be back. And honestly, for me, and I want to get your thoughts as well, Brian, I want them back. And this team all year long struggled mightily. And every press conference, we heard the same thing from Daboll. It was like, we have to get better. We didn't play well enough. This is unacceptable, blah, blah, blah. But I think the saving grace we'll start with Daboll first, because he was a guy that was like, okay, he might be fired. Joe Shea might be kept at least, but Daboll's going to get fired. And a lot of people were like, yeah, that might be true. But the Giants have made this mistake before where they fire their head coach, but keep the GM. There's a whole mess / fiasco. I think the saving grace for Daboll was he just never. The good thing is that he never changed in terms of the
No.
losing stuff, but he knew that quarterback was a big issue, and we saw that on a Hard Knocks twice. There was two notable moments, right? And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
I can
That
think
one
of
moment.
one. I'm thinking of one right now. I want to see if it's one of the ones you're thinking of.
So one moment was when he was on the couch in Joe Shane's office, right?
Yep.
Where
Right before the draft, and they're talking with Tish and Mara.
yeah, and
Yes.
and Shane was like, yeah, we're gonna run it back with Daniel, and Daboll's face was like, like you could just see like the blank look in his face, low
Yeah.
key. It was very like you couldn't really notice it, but if you look closely, he was just like, "Fuck."
He's like, I gotta try again with Jones. Like, he's a nice guy, but damn, come on,
I gotta
guys.
do
Let's do
this
something else.
again. Exactly. And then the other one was when they were in that big room with the scouts
Hmm.
and Joe Shane was like, if we trade up for Daniels, can't or should we do it? And Daboll was like, yeah, he was on board. And I
Yeah.
think those two moments plus throughout the year just
And the
merits
draft interviews too. You can just see the
yeah.
way he's talking with that quarterback and the way he just like I know like he liked Daniels, but the way he fell in love with Drake May, I think
Oh
if
my
he would
goodness.
have moved heaven and earth to get Drake May.
I know, yeah.
He would have offered something stupid to the Patriots. He might have offered like Dexter Lawrence to go get May.
I know it's just a small moment in that show, but just the way he fell in love with May, that's it just felt like if those two were together, oh my god,
Yeah.
things would just
Dable's like, I
change.
got my quarterback. I can mold this guy. And he's super
Exactly.
smart. He knows what he can do.
It's just a smile on his face too when he
Yeah.
was interviewing both quarterbacks, and it was just so cool to watch. And obviously Daniels is playing well for Washington. They're in the playoffs, and then Drake May has so much potential over there in New
Drake May played
England.
really well on a really bad and poorly coached Patriots team, which is
I
kind
know.
of weird to say, poorly coached Patriots team, because in our lifetimes at least, those words have never been in the same sentence together.
Yeah, because we've been so used to seeing the Patriots dominate the NFL for so many years, and seeing these
It's
past couple
Vrabel, right?
years
Like they're signing Vrabel.
has to I
It's got to be Vrabel.
has to be. Now, do I agree with May only getting 1 year? No,
No, I don't agree
I'm
with
sure.
that either. You should have hired Vrabel last year.
Hmm.
But I said this in the belly up Slack. I said if Vrabel isn't available, I guarantee you May gets another year. Mayo gets another year.
Yeah, just seeing the amount of attention that Rabel has, and
Hmm.
just because other teams going to try to pursue him too. I think the Patriots are like, nah, we
We
have
have
to.
our opportunity. Let's bring in someone that's been proven to be a good coach and has like the Belichick way. He's kind of
Mm.
molded it to new school. Let's go bring that in here.
Yeah, and get yourself a good OC as well, because maybe Josh McDaniels might be a guy that they bring on to help be the OC for the. I don't.
I mean, like, it makes sense. I don't would hate it if I'm a Patriots fan, but at the same time, like, can we just get somebody else than Josh McDaniels? Like, this would be the third time we're running it back with him. Do we really have to keep running it back? Like, let's go bring somebody else in.
Just a better OC,
Yeah,
to help May
bring
grow.
Ken Dorsey in for the guy the Browns signed at that point. Bring
Just
someone
someone,
else.
just
Have
someone.
something different.
But yeah, overall for us, this bringing Dable back to help at least have his guy, right decision all along for this Giants team.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like him as a coach. He's someone that brought the best out of Jones in 2022 and put his team into the playoffs, which we
And
talked
then the
about
Eagles
before.
just figured it out. Eagles figured it out. That's
Yeah,
all that happened. They figured it
but
out.
yeah.
They figured out. They figured it out, and then they just never were able to change. Or
Mhm,
Daniel Jones was just never able to take the next step that Daboll wanted him to take.
mhm.
Because
That
remember,
lead, yeah,
before 23, he goes, "We're making this offense more complicated," and Jones was like, "I can't do
can't
this."
do it. And he couldn't process things fast enough and just run the offense that they wanted to run. 22
Hmm.
was just so simplified for him, and that's why this team was able to win
Yeah.
games. It was giving Saquon the ball, completing short passes, all the things. Um, but yeah, I mean, Diable brought the best out of him as best he could, and just needs someone that he can develop and be that a long term QB1, and that's what he's going to be able to do
Hmm.
this upcoming off season when the Giants do get their guy. Hopefully, we'll see who that is. Now, Joe Shane was another guy. I think, yeah, like I said from the beginning, for myself, you either bring both back or you let both go. They went with the former and brought not
Yeah.
just Dable, but also
Bring
Joe
both
Shane.
back.
And I think the motivation for bringing Shane back was, look, your first two draft classes, they were okay. 23 was
They
bad,
were
but 20,
20. Like they were okay, but like at the time, like who else would you want them to pick? Like you can't get mad at Joe Shane for picking Evan Neal. Everybody in that same position was going to pick Evan
pick
Neal.
Evan Neal.
He was
Yeah,
the
no
best.
one.
He was
Yeah.
the best available receiver. Everybody in the same position. Four wide receivers were off the board right before the Giants picked, and they had to go corner. They probably would pick now. Maybe you pick Joey Porter instead, but I think a lot of teams, we didn't know Wink Martindale was going to have, a falling out with Brian Daboll. If your thought idea is, well, Martindale's going to be here for a few more years, yeah, we'll bring Banks in because he fits Martindale better. Had we known Martindale was going to throw a temper tantrum and leave at the end of 2023, maybe that decision's different. But we don't have a crystal ball. We can't see that.
Hindsight's 2020.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no one expected Neil to be as quote unquote the bust that he is at this moment. Kayvon
Neil
Thibodeau
was the
same way.
consensus like slam dunk pick. Like, yeah, that's going to be the home run guy. Maybe, yeah, he has to be the guy.
Yeah, came in, just hasn't really lived up to that 7th overall pick potential. And maybe that changes. We'll see. But from the looks of it, not so much. Maybe move him the guard. Who knows? We've done that. Well, teams have done that
Don't
before
hate
with
that
former.
idea either.
Yeah.
Don't hate it.
Eric Flowers.
Yeah.
Remember him?
Even if Evan Neal is just a backup, but he's the swing guy that can go in there a tackle, or hey, a guard's out, bring him in. That's not 7th overall pick worthy, but it's fine of where he's at right now. That's a good way to salvage his career.
Yeah,
it's just being that swing guy that can kind of play everywhere.
Yeah, it'll get the job done. And sure, it'll be a very highly sort of expensive swing tackle or highly drafted swing tackle, but just fine.
You can rework the contract. There's so many ways you can rework contracts. NFL is all fake money anyway. You can rework it. The Saints are $60 million in debt right now. I guarantee you they sign a big name free agent.
Yeah, all teams figure it out. And obviously, another guy in that same draft class was Kayvon Thibodeau, who had finished with 5 sacks on the year. He's a guy that is also a question mark as well. I mean, it seems more than likely the Giants would bring him back for that 50-year option, but hopefully he steps it up.
I'm
in 25 and beyond.
A conversation about trading Kayvon. I'm not saying do it. Just have the conversation.
Just because of his lack of production in terms of
lack of consistency. He has those, he's got good sack numbers. He does well on paper, but if you watch him game in and game out, he does turn invisible from time to time.
And that's just bad because, you need a consistent pass rush and opposite of Brian Burns and all the things. But yeah, those two guys are the highlights for 2022 in terms of that draft class. Hopefully they step it up. Who knows?
We picked McFadden later on that year. He's been fine his first couple seasons. He kind of took a step back this year, but the 2 years before, he looked like a slam dunk steal.
Oh yeah, him and O'Carroll together is a good duo. Now he's not the most best linebacker in the freaking world, but he did lead the team in tackles, so that says something at least.
He did fine. He did enough to be a 5th overall pick. Fifth round pick, he's on fine.
Yeah. So, outside of for Shane specifically, outside of letting Saquon go, the whole Jones thing, he's done pretty good for himself. Now, we talked about before the Jones contract thing that was forced. I strongly still believe. Yeah, I strongly believe that wasn't all his decision making, and he was kind of forced to be last year be like, yeah, this offense will run through the passing game and not have to rely on some expensive running back like Saquon Barkley. We saw what happened with that, decision this year, but I think giving Shane one more year to for sure have his guy to be able to pick the right quarterback for this team. It makes sense why, you bring Shane and Daboll back, but that's my point. I assume you're okay with bringing both back.
Yeah, I'm fine with bringing both back. I have no issue with bringing both back.
If hypothetically they were both go, are there candidates off the top of your head where you're like, okay, I wouldn't mind. I mean, Daboll would have been a head coaching decision.
Ray will be the head coach. Ray will be the head coach without question. He reminds you so much like Tom Coughlin. He had success in Tennessee, now kind of comes to the big market. Same thing Coughlin did. Had success in Jacksonville, now comes to the big market. That'd be a guy I look for. Brian Flores would be a guy I would be interested in. I don't know, I don't know how realistic that would be with the lawsuit and everything. I don't know, with Minnesota kind of be a fraudulent team this year. But he'd be a guy I would at least explore.
Okay.
Those are the two guys I think come to my head immediately.
Yeah, GM-wise, I think there were talks about maybe if Shane was fired, Brandon Brown, the assistant GM, would be
I don't
elevated.
mind that, but if you're going to fire Joe Shane, you got to fire the whole front office.
Right.
What's the point of firing Shane? You're just going to hire an assistant GM. It's the same front office, just a different figurehead.
Yeah, just different name, different person sitting in that chair.
It's not a change. It's like how every Giants fan was so upset when they fired Gettleman, and it looked like who was it? Who was the guy that made the assistant GM under Gettleman? Kevin Abrams, was that his name?
I think it was Abrams. Yeah.
Yeah, he was going to be the new GM. That pissed everybody off because like you're not changing anything, you're just promoting.
Different name, different name, different.
It's a different
Yeah,
name thing.
different name, same thing.
Yeah,
It's like,
and I think Bowen could be a good general manager. I'm just not saying he's a guy to replace Joe Schoen right now.
yeah. So I think another head coaching guy I wouldn't mind would be Glenn from Detroit, the defensive coordinator. He's been
Yeah,
absolutely
I get
phenomenal.
behind him. I wouldn't want Ben Johnson if we're being honest, because he reminded me too much of Brian Daboll. I think they're so similar because they're both like the hot shot offensive guru, which is what Daboll was. It's like if you're gonna fire, like yeah, Ben Johnson might be better than Brian Daboll, but like if you're gonna
You're
fire
bringing in the
Daboll,
same
why are
guy.
you running it back with a guy similar to him?
Yeah. Because I know Johnson has been great in Detroit with, Jared Goff and everything, that whole offense. But at the same time, it's like Daboll did the same thing in Buffalo with Josh Allen. It's like you want to do the same thing again. Just
Yeah, you want
same thing, similar to what you talked about with GM. You're same type of guy, just different name. So
yeah, like if you're gonna fire someone, actually make a change. Go do something different. Don't just fire someone for the sake of firing somebody because
yeah,
you feel someone needs to take the blame for this season.
yeah. I think just summed up. It's just a weak GM slash head coaching market to look around. I think that may have played a role in,
Yeah.
Mara bringing both of those guys back.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I think they sat. Yeah, because I remember Daboll post game against after Philly was like, yeah, he's gonna sit down with the Maras and all that like they usually do, and I feel like both
Yeah.
Shane and Mara, Shane, Daboll, and Mara and Tish all sat together, and then those two guys in terms of Shane and Daboll were like, this is our vision, this is why we should keep our jobs, and Mara was like, bet. Now
Yeah.
if this type of season happens again,
They're done. If you had to pick right now, the two guys with the hottest seat is Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen. Their seat is
80% chance,
red
yeah.
hot right now.
I would say if we had the same season like this last year, the next year I should say, I go from a 40% chance of getting fired, like I said about this year, to maybe 80%.
No, I say not. I say it's a guarantee. I say they're
Guarantee.
gone. There's no way you can continue to bring them back for a fifth year if every single season they got worse.
And I think the only reason why I said is because if you let both go next year, because how do I say this? Specifically, if we finish 3-14 again, but there's some growth, because you don't want to do a disservice to the quarterback you're drafting if we draft one.
But I think that plays a role, like who they're going to draft. Like, I really don't think they're drafting quarterback 3. I think they're going with Jackson Dart in the second round. I don't think they're going to trade up but that's not a bad thing because if I heard what John Mara said he wants to get better fast. Like he likes the process, but he's running out of patience. So they're going to go out there and they're going to sign either Russell Wilson or Jameis Winston. Then you go and draft Jackson Dart and have him sit for a year. So they do get their shot with their guys. They have the veteran they want and a rookie the best rookie they could availably pick. Because I don't think Cleveland or Tennessee are moving out of those spots for those quarterbacks.
We know Tennessee's going to go quarterback. The only thing that scares me.
Cleveland's going Cleveland's either trading or going quarterback. I don't think they're going to run it back with Deshaun. Or they're going to have some backup plan for Deshaun.
What scares me is Cleveland. Tennessee doesn't scare me. They're not that stupid to trade away one.
No.
They need, after losing Derrick Henry, they need a guy to build around. Mm-hmm. But that's the thing, because I give it maybe 60-40 they go quarterback, because that 40%, Travis Hunter could change them forever in terms of marketing. And also, he's a star.
True. But look at how this Browns team played with and without Deshaun Watson at quarterback. It's two different franchises. So, you're really going to, try to make it work again? Or do you give Kevin Stefanski, pick your quarterback, because we know you can make a quarterback work? Deshaun Watson's got something that's just not working right now.
But I think Cleveland, I think they saw what they had with Winston and was like, I'm not saying Winston's this like fantastic quarterback, but you saw what he did with Winston. Like he wasn't that bad,
No, they were competitive. They beat the
but
Steelers in that snow game.
yeah, but you get yourself a Travis Hunter where it's just like it's the two teams in front of us because if the Patriots were in front of us, let's say the Patriots had number 2 overall pick or number 1, we know they were going to go Travis if that was
Yes.
the case, which would be kind of better at chances at least a quarterback in the first round. In a way, I kind of feel like it's sort of the same thing with Tennessee and Cleveland because I know, or I feel, not that I know because I'd be stretching it, one of them isn't going quarterback. Because it's just, I'm not saying Levis is good,
Mm.
but he did have one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL. Plus, the
That's
lack of
true,
weapons
but like,
freaking
what has
suck.
he showed you? Like, has he showed you any flashes? Like, you had the first overall pick and can pick like Cam Ward, Shadur Sanders. You're really gonna pass on that because you got Will Levis, who was a third round pick.
But it's just Travis Hunter is just sitting there for them, and it's like you put him. Yes, he enters the draft as a corner, most likely, Travis.
Mm-hmm.
But like you have him to play corner and receiver. Also consider the fact Tennessee's secondary, even though they did sign L'Jarius Sneed in the offseason last year, was arguably the worst corner out there. You put Hunter out there, plus you put him in offensive packages with Tennessee. He would be the new Derrick Henry in terms of a star.
The face of
Because
the franchise.
because you bring in a quarterback, there's
But wouldn't Shadur do
still
the same thing? Like, you brought Shadur Sanders in to be your quarterback. Wouldn't he become the face of the Titans?
yeah, but it wouldn't solve their. I think it's just this. I think I don't have a clear answer.
Right. No, I know
Right,
we're 2 days
two
after the
days
NFL
in,
season ends.
yeah.
There's a lot that's gonna happen between now and April.
There's just so much uncertainty with the first 2 picks.
Yeah.
I think this we may say this for every single draft, but for the position that we are in for the Giants, this is arguably the most confusing situation to monitor because we just don't
It's the
know
most
what the
interesting
first
because
teams
they
are.
really could do anything.
Exactly. We just don't know what those first 2 teams are going to do in Tennessee and Cleveland. I strongly believe one of them isn't going quarterback. Now, whether one of those guys, one of those teams, I should say, sign a quarterback through free agency, but I think for me, if Cleveland does go, if they sign a quarterback in free agency, then the talks kind of increase where it's like, well, they trade out at number 2, get a big haul. Someone like the Raiders jumps us, gets Cam Ward / Shadur, kind of leaves us with Travis Hunter. Not that I'm
Not
upset with
complaining. I
that.
love Travis Hunter.
Yeah, but for humor purposes, the fact that I have $100 bet
Mm-hmm.
against my friend right now in terms of the I bet no, we kind of argued over Giants getting Shadur, and he was like, the Giants are going to get Shadur Sanders, but I'm like, we're getting Shadur Sanders. We put $100 on that, so I may lose 100 when April comes around, but I digress.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of football itself, I want one of the two. If we don't get Ward or Sanders, you can't get Dart. You can't get one of the mid tier / bottom tier quarterbacks in this draft. You
Mm-hmm.
just can't do it. Either you go QB round 1 or you just don't get him at all and you wait till 26 and you sign a bridge quarterback that will get you through and take your chances with possibly getting Arch. But Arch is going to be like a top 5 pick and it's like you
But
just got to.
at the same time, if that's the plan you go off the bridge quarterback, wouldn't it be smart to trade 3 for the haul so we have 2 first round picks next year? So if we are later in the draft, we can go up and trade for Arch or a
Mm-hmm.
quarterback.
That's true because if the Giants are bad again in 25 and Schoen and Daboll are fired, at least you kind of give that new regime at least something to build off of.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so many scenarios, and it's great. It's kind of a good thing that we pick high now in terms of as from a fan perspective, it freaking sucks. That means we're losing a lot.
A lot.
But overall, I think we have the opportunity to get either one of the best quarterbacks in the draft in a considerably weak draft class, or we get the best player in college football, which is Travis Hunter. And I think I wouldn't be mad at either of that. But if you ask me right now, I want Shedeur Sanders. I don't know where you stand on that, but that's one guy I want
I
for sure.
think I'm leading Travis Hunter right now because I just don't think
Okay.
I just think the Browns and Titans are going quarterback.
And yeah, and I a lot of us could see that happening. It just I don't know. I just like a
Here's
gut
a
feeling
good
that
question. Who was the last Heisman player to play for the Giants?
had to be the 19 somethings.
So 19 somethings, yes. Actually, it was our first round pick in 2000.
We're going back a minute.
Yep.
Is it bad I don't know it?
No, it's not bad at all. I didn't know this guy.
Who is it?
It's Ron Dane. Drafted. He was drafted 11th overall out of Wisconsin. He was the 1999 Heisman Trophy winner. It's the last Heisman Trophy winner to play for the New York Giants.
Running back?
Running back. Yep. He's
Was
a
he
running
good?
back. I don't know.
I don't think so.
Ron Dane. Pro Football. Here we go. He rushed for just under 4,000 yards. Played for us for 5 seasons. Kind of bounced around. Never was great.
Yeah, I figured. I was like, he's not
His
really
rookie
a
year
name.
rushed for 770 yards. This is the most he ever got. 5 touchdowns. Next year was a drop off in yards, but he had more touchdowns. So he was a guy that it looked like he showed flashes, but never put it all together.
Yeah, I was like, he's not really a name that kind of just stands out to me. I'm like, Ron Dane. I don't think he made much of an impact for us when he's on the team, but I digress. But yeah, we'll have to see for New York, and we'll talk about this later towards the end of the show where we kind of talk about our plans for 2025 and whatnot. It's going to be a fun off season for us. I think a lot of mock drafts, a lot of decisions, a lot of breakdowns and everything, and maybe just maybe me and Brian might kind of have the same guy that we'll choose at number 3 in terms of guessing who'll be picked at number 3. But
Yeah,
I think it's not always good to have the same idea / agreements and stuff. That's not what makes a podcast fun. All right. A couple things for the Giants before we move on, because we don't want to, cram everything. We want to talk about the Giants in one episode because that's what the offseason is for. Off the top of your head, what's one free agent the Giants or you want the Giants to target this off season? Just one guy.
T. Higgins.
Oh, no question. Wide receiver. If they get him, Neighbors
changes
and Higgins.
everything. Changes everything. I don't care who's playing quarterback. If you have Neighbors and Higgins with a run game with Tyrone Tracy, Theon Johnson should be taking another step forward. You have a very good skilled, skill positions.
No excuses after that for ever playing quarterback. No excuses.
Especially if you're going to go out and get like a Russell Wilson or Jameis. You're going to give them that. There's no excuses anymore.
Oh, yeah, 100%. One guy for me is going to be DJ Reed, the corner from the Jets. He's a good corner. I think you get him on this team. Man, I'm telling you, this secondary will be, not saying it's be unstoppable, but it'll be much, much better because at least you have like a veteran guy.
You have him, you have Phillips in the corner, and you just kind of hope, Banks figures it out as a cornerback too.
Yeah, well, Banks are closed on Sundays, and sometimes he's been open. He needs to lock things down over there, Deontay Banks. So, but yeah, you bring Reed in. And I know I said one guy, but if I had to add an extra guy, it would be Trey Smith, the offensive tackle, who played for that. I think you bring him in as well, kind of solves that. Hopefully solves, I should say, because I said the same thing last year when we got Illuminor. Hopefully solves that right tackle position opposite of Andrew Thomas. And you kind of put Illumino maybe at guard, or maybe as a backup, as he was kind of signed to in the beginning. Well, until Evan Neal kind of was just bad. And that's why Illumino kind of started week 1. But you bring in Trey Smith, definitely shows that the Giants are still trying to build in the trenches and go from there. So But that's one guy, and then finally, yeah. Well, I kind of want to talk about a few Giants unrestricted free agents. One of them is Darius Slay. I don't know if you want to bring him back.
Nope.
You don't. Okay.
I only want to bring Darius Slane back when he was when Daniel Jones was here.
Yeah, I remember the whole fiasco where it was like when Jones was gone, he was kind of upset. So
Yeah.
and you said it before.
He's just like kind of a relic of a past. Like, bye. Isn't he the longest
Yeah.
tenured Giant right now?
Yeah.
Bye.
Yes.
Bye.
Yeah. He's been here long enough. And it's like with Jones.
No, Lawrence might be longer. No, Slate was the same draft class as them.
Yeah. No, so yeah, it's a tie between Lawrence and Slayton. And it's like with Daniel Jones, without Daniel Jones. It's just that his performance with and without him. Plus, like, I'm glad they're best friends. That's fantastic. He's not that good. I mean, you said it before. You can find a Darius Slayton in the draft, in free agency.
I bet you there's 15 Darius Slaytons in this draft right now.
He's replaceable, to say the least, when it comes to him. But another guy, real quick, Drew Lock. You bring him back? I don't.
Probably not.
Yeah. Isaiah Simmons?
I wouldn't hate it, but I'd probably lean towards letting him go.
Van Roten?
Who?
Oh, sorry. No, go ahead.
No, I'm saying, like, if you can get Simmons on a cheap deal again, bring him back. But, like, if he gets a payday, it's just like, see ya.
Same thing with Slayton. Replaceable.
Yeah, exactly. Simmons is replaceable. Simmons is just because he's, like, the former first overall pick. He's the big name, all this stuff.
There's no true position for Simmons, too, where it's like they try from backer to safety, and it's just he had that block punt, which is fantastic. But other than that,
but like again, you can get a bunch of people that can specialize in block punts.
Damn right.
It's not hard to get someone that's good at blocking punts.
Exactly. Greg Van Roten, the offensive lineman that we signed, not too bad of a signing.
I'm fine with him as a depth move. Like, you're gonna pay him like the league, the vet minimum. I'm fine with that.
Jamie Gillian, punter. Yeah, I mean,
take him or leave him. I don't really mind.
Replacements easy to find.
I'm fine with not paying punters. Like, if you want to just go sign a UDFA to be our punter, that's fine.
Yeah. Adoree Jackson.
No.
I think you can move on from him too. Yeah. I don't think you bring him back. Great, veteran move.
But like, if you bring him back, he's a cornerback 4.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want him as my cornerback 2.
You could find young guys that could be cornerback 4. Maybe just have him as a veteran presence. Yeah. Last one, Azeez Ojulari.
Azeez, I bring back. I think I lean towards bringing him back because he just showed such good flashes this year until he got banged up again.
But that's the thing. It's just the injuries where.
I get it. It's one of those things where, like, I'm not gonna break the bank for him, but like, if I can get him on that cheap deal, I'm bringing him back 100%.
Yeah, one knock on Joe Schoen this season was just not trading Slayton and Ojulari at the deadline when both guys were kind of their value
when their stocks were at the absolute highest. Yeah, that's when you trade them for, like, you probably could have snagged like an early day 3 pick for both of them.
Mm-hmm. And they did not.
Maybe even like a late 3rd you could have snagged for one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Just how good Azeez was that year, you probably could have gotten a 3rd.
Yeah, but they just he didn't do it. They just did not do it. So it's just like we're kind of stuck with them. But hey, who freaking knows? I think I don't want Ojulari back because of the injury history, but it's like.
But like, if I'm looking at this list and you told me I can only bring back one guy and I had to bring back one guy, I'd probably pick Azeez. Like, I don't know.
Just hope he stays.
Just hope he figures it out and just stays on the field.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens there. There's 30 unrestricted free agents that Giants will have to make decisions on. And we'll see what happens from there. As futures contracts are officially underway. I don't have the full list in front of me yet, but we'll talk about that probably on Thursday. But we talked for an hour and something about the Giants. Let's move on to the NFL postseason picture. It is officially set now. Week 18 did have some clinching scenarios. The Denver Broncos blew out the Kansas City Chiefs to clinch the final seed in the AFC.
Well, you're playing Carson Wentz. Pretty easy.
Yeah, it's easier said than done. The Bears beat the Packers, which dropped the Packers down to the last seed in the NFC, and they'll face the Eagles who are the number 2 seed. And then in terms of the number 1 seed in the NFC, the Lions beat the Vikings on Sunday night to clinch that. And then Minnesota is, from recent memory, the first 14-3 team ever to be a wild card team. That's just how good the
Lions are.
yeah, and also just how good the division was as a whole.
Yeah.
You know,
If they won
so
14 games, made a wild card. Why? Because the team in front of us won 15.
yeah, so
Oh, that's just bad luck, guys. Sorry.
So the Detroit Lions are the number 1 seed in the NFC. The Eagles are number 2. They'll take on the Packers, who are the 7th seed. The number 3 seed is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who won the NFC South. They'll take on the Commanders, who are the 6th seed, led by Jaden Daniels. And then the Los Angeles Rams, the number 4 seed, and the winner of the NFC West, will take on the Minnesota Vikings, who are the 5th seed, after finishing 14-3. In terms of the AFC, the Chiefs are the number 1 seed. Big eye roll there. Number 2 is the Buffalo Bills, who took on the Denver Broncos for the 7th seed after beating, as I mentioned, the Kansas City Chiefs. The Ravens take on the Steelers, so an AFC North matchup there once again for the 3rd time this year. They'll take on each other as the 3rd and 6th seed, respectively. And then the Houston Texans, who won the AFC South, a very weak division, I should say, they'll take on the Chargers, who are the 5th seed, as well, to wrap up that AFC and NFC picture. Yeah, I'm not mad at it. That this is a good playoff bracket.
This is a good slate of teams. Like I'm not. There's no one I'm really upset made it. Like I don't really see like a blowout on this year's schedule like I have in the past.
It seems if I had to choose one that could possibly be a blowout, I think it's maybe Buffalo and Denver.
That's the only one because like is Bo Nix gonna like do well and like in the cold elements? Buffalo team, this is a seasoned Buffalo team. They've been in the playoffs a bunch of times. Like
Josh Allen.
You're right. That's the only like blowout spot. The rest are kind of close.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Packers and Eagles are going to be close there. Minnesota Rams, that's going to be a good game for sure.
I saw Steelers open as 10-point dogs. I'll ride the Steelers all day. Steelers plus 10.5 to my grave. Oh my God.
Damn, that's a big
10.5 points. Like I know Baltimore's really good, but like the Steelers just play a style of football that like works in the playoffs.
It's dirty in the playoffs too, especially they play each other before. The game plan seems simple. You stop Derrick Henry, you let Lamar have force, beat you with his arm. Kind of
like you're really going to put a 10-point spread on a rivalry game like Steelers and Baltimore. Like that's a big rivalry.
It's a big
the past 25 years.
100%. So overall, I mean, look, I think one thing that to know in terms of this playoff picture is the Chiefs. I think to have 21 plus days of rest for this team in terms of their starters, I think it will bite them, and whoever escapes out of the lower seeds in the AFC should deserve more credit and possibly more. How do I say this? More of a people will choose them to win. I should just keep it simple.
Yeah.
Than just be like, oh, the Chiefs are going to win because playing after 21 days of rest
to a team that was already struggling, like not playing well to begin with.
Like, I think in a way they should have played Week 18 just for a limited capacity, at least to kind of keep the Chiefs in it.
Play a quarter, play a half, like just kind of
something.
Play
kind
something.
Of like the preseason in a way.
Yeah.
So, that Chiefs team scared. They don't. It scares me in terms of how far they'll go. I think, not to overreact too much, but I think they're out the divisional round. I think whoever escapes out of the lower seeds.
I think they're a big upset watch, yeah.
100%. So,
but like they're also like the same time where like if they won the Super Bowl again, I just wouldn't be surprised because they're like, oh, you're just the modern day Patriots.
Yeah, and the rest will always go your way.
Yeah,
if you're the Chiefs. So
yeah, well, the NFL want the Swifties to win, so
it's how it is. In terms of the playoff teams themselves, big news: the Chargers signed Ezekiel. Not big news, but the Chargers signed Ezekiel Elliott as
Zeke is ring chasing, boys.
Woo! Yeah, I mean the Chargers aren't going to go too far.
He'll get 5 carries all postseason?
Yeah, because you already have Dobbins and Edwards, and there's no point in having Zeke. But I guess maybe for injury purposes, because Edwards, or I should say Dobbins, has been banged up for most of the second half of this season. So I kind of see why they kind of want to bring Zeke on board, but like I don't think he's going to do too much per se for the Chargers. But Christian Watson is obviously the big news here in terms of the playoff teams because he was diagnosed with a torn ACL, I believe. He's out for the rest of the season. So, in terms of the playoff picture, not the best timing. There. Yeah, it's not like they have a wide receiver number one anyways, but to
But
have
Watson
options
was their
helps.
best.
Yeah, I would argue Dobbs in a way. I
Yeah,
would
but
argue
like Watson
Dobbs.
was still like they didn't have a wide receiver one, but they had two really good wide receiver twos in Dobbs and Watson.
True. So, with that injury, definitely Dobbs and Wicks and Jaden Reed obviously will have to step up as well. Those three guys hopefully will get the job done against an Eagles team that probably will blow them out of the water. Not blow them out, but we'll probably just eliminate them with ease. But we'll see what happens there. But that is your AFC and NFC playoff picture. Finally, before we end things here, the college football playoffs has been up to. I will say, not too shocking to see all the teams that had a bye week get eliminated, but I think more importantly, your Fighting Irish got the job done against a SEC team, but that is the Georgia Bulldogs. Go Dogs! Yeah, yes.
Nope.
It was ugly. I was
It was
worried.
ugly. It was not a good game, but you know what? It's Notre Dame football. It was
damn right. I was gonna
suffocate
say
you with
that. Yeah.
defense, control the tempo, and we'll win. That's what they do.
It's just how it is. It's nothing new. We've seen this before, right? You guys win
Yeah.
the ugly way. Passing game may not do. Oh my god, passing game was so
I wrote
bad.
this in a Notre Dame debriefing this week. It's Riley Leonard is not the quarterback you want, but if you could like give your quarterback any personality, it's Riley Leonard's. It's the guy that's just like, I might not have the ability, but I'm going to do everything in my power to just bust my ass and get this team where it needs to go.
He'll get the job done. He won't make the craziest plays or
Your
have the
stat
biggest
line's going to
arm.
look terrible. He's not going to do it, but when it matters the most,
He'll keep
he's
you in
going to
it.
get it done. Like that rush where he flips over the Georgia defender tackling him. That's what you want to see out of your quarterback. It's just like he's putting it all to win. The guys are bought into this culture, and it's special.
His best attribute is obviously what he can contribute with his legs, and you pair that with Jeremiah Love and that running game that Notre Dame has.
Right, yeah.
Plus, defensively, you guys are just a scrappy bunch, man. To go out there and do what you did against Georgia. Now, people will be like, "Oh, well, we had Gunnar Stockton." Yeah, but let's not act like weeks ago. Georgia fans were saying Stockton was better than Carson Beck. So
all I heard this entire week was that Gunnar Stockton was so much better than Carson Beck, and then how Notre Dame was actually worse off facing Stockton than they were Beck. That's all I heard. Then magically, when Notre Dame blew him out, magically the narrative changed to, well, Beck wasn't out there. Beck wouldn't have done anything. Beck sucks. Beck declared for the draft, and I cackled. I'm like, that's going to be a really fun trivia question one day.
That'll certainly get the job done for any NFL team who's drafting.
Yeah, that's going to be a really fun pick when I don't know, it's the 5th round. It's like, maybe we'll take a shot on Carson Beck, see what he does.
Him and Drew Aller needs to switch spots in terms of Aller needs to declare, and then Beck just needs to go back.
Beck's I don't know if Beck can. I think Beck's out of eligibility. I think he's done.
I thought he was a junior.
Yeah, but you might only have so many years of eligibility.
Oh, he's a senior. Shit.
Yep. Done.
Well,
Drew Aller, I heard he's getting a lot of love right now.
He is. I think a lot of people, from what I've heard from in terms of the news, they were like, if he declares, he could be the first quarterback off the board. Now,
that's crazy.
That is crazy to say.
We also have the reports that Shedeur wasn't our first round pick. I'm like, can we find a middle ground here, folks? Like, okay, maybe Shedeur isn't the first overall pick, but he's going to go in the first round. And Drew Aller is going to be maybe a good quarterback. He's not going first overall. Let's everyone calm down. Let's take a breath.
If that occurs, we are seeing my vision of getting Shedeur increasingly happen as it is.
Yeah.
Because if the Titans get Ward and Cleveland doesn't think Sanders is that good, our chance to get Sanders is available.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe in the most Giants move possible, we get Jackson Dart in the first round and everything goes fucking berserk. But
don't get Jackson Dart. I'm okay with Jackson Dart in the 3rd round. Do not give him the 1st round. I'll hate him.
That's Giants
football 2.0.
That's Giants football for you, buddy. I will tell you that.
Yep.
But overall, there are now 4 teams left in the college football playoff picture. It'll be Texas and Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl, and then Penn State against Notre Dame in the Orange Bowl. So right now, as we stand, Ohio State is 6-point favorites. Notre Dame is 2.5 favorites.
Sounds about right.
How do you feel, man? I mean, we'll talk about more on Thursday, of course, when we'll break it more down.
With the day of. I'm nervous, but I feel good. I feel like our hardest opponent was Georgia. I feel like with, Franklin's record against good teams, how Marcus Freeman's defense just, has contained two really good offenses. I really think this is the best Notre Dame team we've seen in a while. I really think they'll do well against Penn State.
All right. I will say whoever wins the national championship, this will be a very unexpected one. I will say because we, you were
but
so
be like
used
the
to
first one that went through a gauntlet. It would be like this might be the hardest national championship to win because not only do you go through the regular season, you gotta go through a playoff structure too.
Kind of like the whole first round of playoffs, second round, third.
Yeah,
I
know we've had like the 14 playoffs, but like 4 teams is a lot different than 12 teams.
It was more fun this year, and sure, like the first round where the teams have like the games at home are in there.
Electric.
Yeah, I'm sure it gave an advantage to the home team, and it was a lot of blowouts per se. But
guess what?
It was
That's
fun to
what
see.
home field advantage is.
That's what it's
you
all
fight
about.
for it in the NFL for a reason, so you can have the advantage. You want to not play a home game in the playoffs? Don't lose.
Don't lose. That's all you got to do. Play a neutral site.
You want to play in a playoff game? Don't lose 3 games. Don't lose to Vanderbilt and Oklahoma.
Damn, someone's taking a shot at someone's taking a shot at
I'm taking a shot at the whole SEC. I was tired of listening to them bitch and complain this entire week. You guys didn't deserve to be there. And here's the worst part. If it was flipped and all the SEC teams got in and there was like Big Ten teams that like felt like they deserved to win, all these SEC morons and everyone that's in bed with the SEC would be saying you lost 3 games. You don't deserve it. Like it's so quickly how their argument flips to whatever makes the SEC look like this big dominant conference. Guys, the SEC is over. Like SEC will be is and will always be one of the best football conferences. But their time as like the lone super conference is over. The Big Ten has caught them. The Big 12 is on its way.
ACC, almost.
ACC, sort of. They need some programs to get back. But if Florida State can get back, if Clemson can kind of put it together, if SMU can continue this success, they can get back. But I think it's Big Ten, SEC, then there's the gap, and then you get the Big 12, ACC, then there's the gap and everybody else.
Yeah, Pac-12 is dead as of right now.
It's rebuilding.
Yeah, it's rebuilding. Slowly but surely.
Slowly but surely, they're rebuilding.
And one more team. I think they need like one more team to
They need a few more teams because I think they have 7.
Yeah, 6 or 7. I think
they have 7, and they need 10 to be considered a power conference.
Yeah, they got a long way to go. They have a long way to go,
but they can go. Like I think they added Hawaii a few weeks ago. Like I think they'll be okay. They got an interesting thing going on over there.
They'll figure it out, yeah. But yeah, I mean, the whole conference realignment has kind of taken a toll on the SEC, and
we're all for it. Being able to NIL, legally pay players, I think that played a little bit of a role.
Yeah, that'll do it for you.
Yeah, because recruiting can now be spread out. Everyone can offer money, so everyone is going to offer money. It's not just the SEC illegally offering players. And don't say you didn't do it, because there are many documentaries where you did it.
Before NIL?
There's a whole SB Nation one about what went on at Ole Miss. It's 3 parts. It's amazing. Go watch it. That's SEC football in the mid-2000s, early 2010s, when this dynasty was going on.
Yeah, there's no more saving.
And by the way, if you're a Mississippi State fan, you can't claim you're part of the SEC dynasty. That's Bama, that's Georgia, that's LSU, and occasionally Auburn. You cannot live off those success. Sure, you might be in the SEC. The SEC doesn't want you. The SEC doesn't want Mississippi State, Vanderbilt. They don't want schools like that.
Where'd you get this from?
I'm just talking about SEC fans that think the whole conference is amazing because their teams win championships. No, you're a crap team in a really good conference. You got lucky that in 1933, your president had the foresight to join this new conference.
I was just like, out of all the teams you could call out, Mississippi State.
They're just a team that sucks. And I feel like their fan base is like, well, we're the SEC. We're better than everyone thinks we are. No, you still suck. You're just playing the SEC.
Just because you're playing a good conference doesn't mean you're not good.
Like, I don't hear Northwestern fans saying that, man, we're better because we play in the Big Ten. Like, Northwestern fans like, man, we suck.
The uniforms aren't that bad. I will say Northwestern.
Okay, yeah, the uniforms are cool, but the product on the field's bad, and the product in the locker room is bad.
Just because you look good don't mean you play good.
Yeah. Look at Oregon. Oregon's got awesome uniforms. They got blown out in the Rose Bowl.
Dude, that was ugly. Oh my god! Out of all the games that I did not expect to end the way they did, that game was.
Yeah.
Ohio State blew him out the frick water. Jeremiah Smith, whew, that's a good receiver right there. But
He's good. He's the next Ohio State receiver. Ohio State. I was talking with my buddy about this last night. Like who is wide receiver you? And we said LSU is. Ohio State has a real shot here in the next 5 years to retake that mantle with Jackson and Jigba, Marvin Harrison Jr., and then Smith right now. If those three can become top 5 receivers, it's Ohio State again.
It's a big debate.
It's a big debate, but it becomes down to Ohio State, LSU, and I think LSU is a slight advantage right now, with Ohio State having a very, very good opportunity here to take it back.
And you could argue Garrett Wilson, guys like that, those would make Ohio State go, but you
right,
can't deny
but
Chase.
At LSU, it's Jefferson, Chase, Beckham, Landry,
neighbors,
that's Thomas. That's a major 6. Can Ohio State compete with those 6 in the past 15 years? No,
not right now. So
Olave's fine, but he's not better than anyone I just mentioned.
No,
Garrett's fine, but he's taking a major step back. He's not as good as anyone I mentioned. And Jigba and Harrison are both really young, so it's
we'll have to see over time. But as of right now,
in 5 years, Ohio State can take it back. But right now, it's LSU.
Go Tigers.
They need to bring back Ed Ogeron too. Make Brian Kelly unemployed again.
Yeah, I'm part of the corner.
Is there a bigger loser in this whole thing than Brian Kelly? He left Notre Dame because he didn't think they could take him to the top. Now Notre Dame is 2 wins away from a national championship, and Brian Kelly still can't win the big game. All the problems at Notre Dame has just followed him to LSU. It's oh, maybe it wasn't Notre Dame. Maybe you're just not good.
Marcus Freeman
is such a game changer.
He's a good one.
Is going to be he might go down as one of the best coaches in Notre Dame history.
Yeah, he's a
good one. All said and done. I trust him so much.
I like him. Solving the race problem. Hey, welcome to the...
Hey, man. How are you doing?
Appreciate you. Hey, guys, just found your channel. We appreciate you. Thank you. Does it seem like the Giants' narrative this offseason will be to disingenuously blame the Shane Bowen and talk about... It will be a part of it.
I definitely think Shane Bowen's going to be the scapegoat for this season. I definitely think you can make him the scapegoat for this season.
Yeah, he will be part of the reason.
Is that fair? Probably not, because it's one season. You can't really blame it all guy in 1 year.
Yeah, but then you look at recency bias, and Wing Martindona's first season was pretty good.
No, I get it, but
defense was good.
Yeah.
So Bowen will be a part of the reason in terms of this offseason review that we'll talk about. He will be part of it, I would say. If he's fired, I don't think we'll be too surprised. If we keep him, I would feel like I'd be more upset. But then again,
I would
chances.
Question it, but I would be
there's better options.
Let's give him another year, because it's kind of unfair. It's disingenuous to give this guy 1 year with a whole new cast of people he's got to figure out.
But he was supposed to be this really good DC.
No, yeah, you're right. But how much is it on the talent level between the two?
Yeah, I guess true. But completely fair, he says the defense is average to below average. But yeah. Look,
quarterback is undeniably terrible, bro.
Mike Kafka is sort of the blame too. I'm not saying Kafka's off the hook either. I will say that.
I would love, if I was to fire either one, I would love to fire Kafka, for being honest. I know he doesn't do anything, but I just think maybe just a different voice in the locker room.
He just doesn't. He
doesn't do anything. Just fire him and put someone that does something.
Yeah, I think Chicago went to interview him, I think, for the...
take him! Please take him! He sucks!
Yeah, he can be your offensive quality assistant. We don't really need him like that anyway. He just sits there as part of the staff.
Mara's already said he doesn't want Daboll calling plays next year. Go out and get an OC that's going to call plays.
Get you a real OC for... Yeah, nice. There's plenty of options.
And I love Daboll. I think his playbook's fine. Don't make a new OC call your playbook. Allow him to kind of do what he wants to do.
Maybe same perspective.
Maybe collaborate and make one together.
Yeah. Don't. Yeah, sometimes head coaches calling plays, it doesn't always work out.
No.
Some instances it does. I think O'Connell does calls. I think O'Connell from Minnesota does calls plays. Right?
O'Connell made Sam Darnold an MVP candidate. That's different.
There's some instances where it does work when you're a head coach and call your own plays.
But you
Sometimes
have
it
to be a
does not.
special breed of player, coach to do it. Daboll might just not be that guy,
We
and
forced
that's
Daboll to be
okay.
him.
That's
Yeah.
okay. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. We forced Daboll to be that way, and that was the expectations for us
Mm-hmm.
this offseason.
Well, that was
This past
we knew
offseason
we weren't
actually.
going to fire Kafka, and we're like, well, we'll just have Daboll call plays then because it's different.
Yeah. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens here this offseason, which leads us to our final topic of the day, what to expect in 2025 and beyond. So first off, we appreciate you guys for just your support this past year. This was officially me and Brian's first full season together for this podcast. So
Too
congrats
bad it
to
was the
us.
worst in Giants history.
I know. Out of all the years to have like a first full successful season as a podcast, it was during a year where the Giants were not only the one of the worst teams in the NFL, but just the worst team in franchise history. And to be 3-14 is just not fun at all. Um, and yes, real quick, yes, Daboll is only here as the offensive mastermind. Yeah, not
Yes.
anymore.
Oh, he
Uh,
is. I mean, yeah, no, that is why they brought him in here, but no one's calling him an offensive mastermind anymore.
not anymore because we see
Now,
what Josh
that could
Allen's
change when he has a quarterback not named Daniel Jones, but we'll see.
as of right now, not so much. But yeah, overall, we appreciate you guys so much. I think your guys' support with our clips on TikTok and Instagram has been more than we could ask for. Your constant appearances in terms of just views and anything like that. It's more than I could ever imagine because
Oh, yeah.
honestly, before Brian was on here, it was a struggle to find a consistent co-host to have success. And honestly, I to reach even 100 subscribers, as crazy as it sounds, was something I never could imagine as a podcast. And for me, just not being a guy that saw himself in the media department, it's just something that this is all a new and also a great surprise to have. And having you, Brian, as well, kind of bring you on. And I think it was all because of you, because you brought me on your college podcast. So
Yes, my
that was
college
new.
radio show.
That was
After Daniel Jones shit the bed against the Seahawks.
You brought me on. We
I'm like,
talked
oh, I
about
gotta
it.
talk to this guy, this Giants beat writer about it. Maybe just get a different opinion, and maybe just save my voice for like 5 minutes. So I'm not just yelling.
And I was like, nope, we had the same value, same
Yeah, I was like, oh,
mindset.
okay, this guy's cool. Then he texted me. I'm like, oh, I'm definitely doing this.
Yeah, do it. I originally was bringing you on as a guest, and it took off from there. So, having you on and just having being able to make episodes on a weekly basis and to have continuous support from you guys, it means a lot. And from me and Brian, we appreciate you guys so much. So, with that being said, in 2025, we will be taking a huge step forward from 24, because 24 was definitely a good building block, but you never want to settle ever. And the whole new year, new me, as corny as it sounds, that will definitely be the mindset here.
You got a Halloween themed background, for God's sakes. Look at us.
I
changing
know.
already.
We're changing already.
The Halloween aesthetic. I like it. The orange is nice.
The dark field. Yeah, the dark field. The Halloween font. It's a whole thing. But for this off season, we will be breaking it down more than we ever will be. We'll obviously keep you guys updated in terms of roster changes, coaching changes, if there are any, which there should be, but I digress. I think on Thursday we'll be talking about team awards and maybe breaking down some of the roster, but we will be, talking about the roster.
Team awards: Dexter Lawrence,
Malik Neighbors, Tracy.
Okay, rule. We'll do a rule right now. You cannot repeat. There are no repeats.
You got it.
You have to pick different people.
Got to choose different. We'll keep that in mind. But yeah, so we'll talk about awards, roster reviews. We'll be talking about, free agency, position by position, which are the best fits for the Giants, given our rankings for free agents for each position, draft/scouting breakdowns. We'll talk about, the new roster when everything is said and done. And it's not just NFL that we'll be talking about. We'll be talking about other sports. I mean, hell, Brian's a freaking Mets fan. They signed Juan Soto.
Mr. Soto is here.
Yeah,
you don't think I'm going to talk about Juan Soto this entire if you don't think I'm talking about Juan Soto this entire offseason, you got a different thing coming for you. Juan Soto is everything. Happy Francisco Lindor Day, by the way, to everyone who celebrates. It's the 4-year anniversary of Francisco Lindor becoming a New York Met. The day after the Capitol riots, everyone's talking about that. I'm like, did anyone else see the Mets got Lindor? This is awesome.
Everyone's so
life is so great right now.
Everyone's
Meanwhile, the
focused
country's
on
burning.
politics and stuff, and it's just like, well, the Mets, they got,
It was the
what are you
best.
doing?
I worked at the fish market that day, and there's like 5 people in the department like working that day, and the 4 of them were in a corner talking about what had happened. And I'm on the other side. I'm like, you guys do know that Lindor got traded to the Mets, right? Like this did happen.
They just looked at you like
They're like Brian, like something historic happened. I'm like, you're right. The Mets got
the Mets
Lindor.
signed
That's historic.
Lindor. That's the historical event that we're referring to.
Brian, go home. Okay,
Fine, I'll be happy by myself, I guess. Freaking
cool.
party
I'll go
poopers.
home.
But yeah, no, but yeah, once baseball season comes around, that's gonna be fun to talk about as well. We'll definitely break down more
A's
into
with Brett
that.
Rooker extension this morning.
That's what I'm saying,
Out of
baby. Just cause,
nowhere. What look at John
hey,
Fisher. The second he leaves
hey,
Oakland, he spends money.
all of a sudden we want to spend money. All of a sudden,
I will say
thanks.
the very first article I wrote for Valley of Sports is about that exact topic. About
Oh my.
will Jeff Fisher spend money when he leaves Oakland? And I'm gonna say like, yeah, I think he will.
Yeah,
Been
like
proven. I'm like, this is my worst take, but it's gonna get so many clicks. I'm like, this has been my best articles. It's that article is aged like fine wine.
Severino, Rooker. I think we traded
Heavy,
for a
you're signing
reliever.
rookie. Like you could buy a rookie jersey right now because you know he's gonna have it for 5 years. That's
That's
something you can never
true.
do in
That is
Oakland.
true. That's true. I could finally get a permanent A's jersey, and that's you're right. I'm gonna look at Fanatics later. I will say that. Appreciate you, by the way, solving the race problem. We will
Oh,
subscribe
thanks, man.
back
That's
to you.
awesome.
We appreciate you. I'm saying the support has definitely, a motivating factor for us. So also, we'll be bringing on guests, hopefully on a regular basis, because I think it'll be, more fun. We have our guys from the ATL show. We have Coach Wilson from Coach's Corner as well that I host every week or every 2 weeks, I should say. Just overall, this year will be definitely a big one for us.
Big year. It's gonna be a big year. 2025 is gonna be different.
A lot of changes,
Good
changes, not just from a podcast standpoint, but also from a Giants standpoint, and hopefully,
yeah, the Giants are gonna be a laughing stock next year. We're not gonna be sitting in December going like, "Well, I hope we lose today."
I just hope we're better, man. Like,
can we just like wake up on a Sunday and be competitive? Like, that's all I want. I'm not saying win. I'm just saying I want to wake up on Sunday and not be like this Giants are get blown out by 2 touchdowns today.
Just be 8-9.
Awesome.
If we're 8-9 next year and there's improvement across the board, 26 would be the year. And
yeah, we're good. We're building something.
Exactly. And then next year, or when next season comes around,
we're not talking about firing Daboll and Schoen anymore. Like they're back in the good graces of everybody. Everything's good.
Yeah, offense is putting up more at least 21, 28 points
numbers.
regularly. Yeah, our defense is shutting to just a better product on the field makes us better. And even when it's bad, it is comedic for us to talk about the team being bad. But man,
it's not fun week in, week out.
It is not. I will say it is.
It's funny the first couple days, and then after like the 4th week in a row, it's like I can't do this anymore. I don't.
It just gets repetitive.
I can't keep getting mad at this team because it's the same thing I'm mad at.
Exactly. So, but yes, we are. Like I said again, we appreciate you guys so much. Thank you so much for your continued support, for following us on social media, for liking everything that we release out there, for watching our stuff. It means the world to us, and it just motivates us to continue to make better content for you guys. And like I said, if the more support you guys, as you guys continue to give us your support, we promise as a duo. I'm sorry.
We'll grow.
We will grow. We will grow, and we can promise you that for 2025. So with that being said, you guys know what to do. You can follow us on social media. You can follow Brian at BrianPG1016. You can follow me at Nathan_Nguyen24. And you can follow us on our podcast pages on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at 3rd and 10 Pod.
The big one, the one that's going to get banned in a few weeks. Did you hear this? They're trying to ban TikTok again.
Right. I was like, we're getting banned? I was like, what do we do?
No, TikTok's getting banned.
I was going to say, I will say,
it's been getting banned for 4 years now. It's not going to happen, but
Yeah, people are saying, that's
every year. It's like, this is the year. I'm like, okay.
It's like, yeah, when? We're still waiting.
Like, oh, finally, it takes you off this godforsaken app. And then you know what? It never happens.
It never happens. So we're all scared and stuff. It's like, we're going to lose our jobs.
I love the info. We're going to lose our jobs. Just make a YouTube account.
Just make it's the same thing. Just people on YouTube anyways.
Like, half you guys make 5-minute videos anyway. Put this on YouTube. They'll do numbies.
Yeah, it'll get views and likes. It's the same thing. It's the OG platform. Everyone uses it. Well, it's the same thing. But again, thank you guys so much. We appreciate you guys. It's gonna be a fun year for us. We'll see you guys back on Thursday, unless something changes, but it should be Thursday, which we'll be back and we'll give out our team awards and break down more of the Notre Dame game as they take on the Penn State Nittany Lions. For Brian, I'm Nate. Thank you guys so much. We hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you for watching, and make sure to like, subscribe, and comment all the good stuff. Peace.